Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Bet Rivers Network, brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. I apologize if I kept you waiting. I was watching the end of the Chief game. I should realize it's like the adage from the old NBA tagline. You watch the last 2 minutes, you can find out what happens. Well, every Chief game seems the same. Whether they're losing at half, winning at half, the game's going to come down to a Mahomes playing the final minute or two that decides things, and then they kick a field goal and win. We're on the Mike Francesa channel on the Bet Rivers Network on YouTube, and obviously the story of the day, week, month, year, whatever, is now one that everybody has, and that is that Juan Soto has made his choice. And I have to tell you, and I apologize for my cold. It's really nasty. I would have been shocked if it was any other way. I told you all along. The only thing I thought was this. This was Cone going to an auction. There was one Picasso, and he wasn't leaving without it. That is how I saw this the whole time. I saw him having a property he coveted, and it would have left a very bad taste in Met fans' mouths. Not only that, it would have damaged the belief system that they now overwhelmingly have for this guy, because since the day he arrived, they have expected this, that they would have the money to rock the world, that they would cause the seismic shift. And they've caused it, because not only did they bid the most money for the most highly coveted player that we've seen in modern times, and obviously put the contracts now into the stratosphere with this incredible, 15-year, $765 million contract. But they took a player away from the Yankees in his prime who was coveted by the Yankees. That is something the Mets have dreamed about. That is something that a Met fan for years went to bed, put his head on his pillow, and dreamt of a day that that could possibly happen. And he thought it would happen when donkeys would fly, okay? He never thought it would happen. But then along came the richest owner in baseball, and a guy who likes to spend money, who likes to flash his wealth, who got into this to flash his wealth so that everybody could know how smart he is, how rich he is, and now how big a deal he is. That's why guys buy teams. They're already wealthier than anybody can understand. They buy teams to have an impact, to get famous, and to get wealthier. And usually sports now allows you to do all those things. And he has plans in sports, outside sports, in that area that he'll hope to bring to fruition. I don't know that he will, but he'll try over the years to come. But what he has done already is he has fulfilled the promise for the Mets and their fans. The Mets, this doesn't mean that the Mets are going to win four straight World Series. It doesn't mean they're going to win more World Series than the Yankees. What it means is they never, ever again are going to take a back seat to the Yankees. And that is, in this town, a seismic change, an enormous change. The Mets not only got the brass ring, they got the player that everybody wanted, and the Yankees wanted more than anybody. Now, to me, there was more pressure on Conan in this process than there was on the Yankees, because I think anybody who was logically thinking figured the Yankees were the underdogs in the process the whole time, because Cohen was just going to outbid them. And when he met with Soto, I'm sure he talked about ways to make them even wealthier, which is something that he has an expertise in that other owners might not. that Hal might not, or that Hal might not vocalize. This is a guy who has made his money on Wall Street. He has been a controversial owner. There are a lot of people who will tell you that Billions, Bobby Axelrod, is after the Cohn character with some obvious fictional nuances. But again, here he is making his big splash and putting the Yankees in their place. The Yankees no longer walk in the room and the Mets drift off to the side or never even extend to dare even dream of a player that the Yankees are considering. That's no longer the way it is. Now it's get out of our way. We'll dictate. And for Met fans, this is something that is above all victories. This is something that is a living condition that they now have in this city. They are now on equal footing at worst. And some years, I'm sure the Yankees will be better. And some years, the Mets will be better. But they're both going to compete at the top levels of the sport now. And the Yankees are now going to be a few steps behind the Mets because the Mets' wallets are deeper. And you had to see that because last year, I think Met fans figured, hey, we could be in on the pitcher and we could be in on Otani. Well, they didn't realize the appeal of the West Coast of the Dodgers, okay, because they offered as much money for Yamamoto as the Dodgers did. But he was going to get to live in LA, and the Pacific Edge means a lot more to those guys, and the Dodgers mean a lot more to those guys than the Mets do. So it wasn't just money. This was about money. Because if it wasn't, the Yankee offer, which has come down at 760 million for 16 years, which I have to admit is more than I ever thought the Yankees would bid. Frankly, I know Judge was telling the Yankees, and give Judge credit here. Judge showing great humility, telling the Yankees it didn't matter to him how much money they signed Soto for, despite the fact Soto was going to hit in front of him in the lineup, be protected by Judge, and be there with a salary twice his size. He didn't seem to care. At least he said he didn't. Whether he would have in the future, who knows? Whether that would have created problems, who knows? But the bottom line is the Yankee offer was extraordinary. And he said no. Why? For a couple extra $1 million? Or was it more than that? Or was it the fact that there was a signing bonus? Or was it the fact that they gave him a chance to make more money with escalators, like he needed escalators in this contract? Or the fact that Cohen promised him, you're not the last, you're the first. You're the first, and I'll get you whatever we need. And I'll always get you while you're here, whatever you need. And that's a promise that he can keep as long as he or his family is running that franchise. So, is this a seismic change? Yes. Does this change the Yankee Met relationship? Absolutely. The Yankees can't like any part of this. They'll go about their business, they'll wish Soto well, they'll sign some big name guys. Obviously, they have the wherewithal and the resources to compensate with a couple of key guys in key spots. They will do that. They'll put a very good team on the field, but this wound will be there for a while. And if the Mets make the right moves, if they sign the right pitchers, if they develop the right pitchers, just like they just took Holmes, if they're right about how they use Holmes and develop Holmes, if they sign the right pitchers and sign the right players, do they sign Alonso? I don't know. Do I think they don't sign him because they just gave him that money? Means nothing. Means absolutely nothing in their plan. If I guarantee you, if the front office tells Cone they have to have Alonso, they will sign Alonso. If they intend on playing Manchester at first base, they don't have to sign Alonso. They will make that decision, but Alonso's future will not be based on economics. Not with the Mets. This is a seismic shift. And it means that Cone has finally delivered on his promise. He did what he said he would do. He backed it up with Green, and he gave the Mets what they've always wanted. And that is a chance to now stand toe to toe, face to face, head to head with every Yankee fan and not feel like the little brother, not feel like second class citizens. Those days are over. Does this make the Yankees inferior? That remains to be seen. Does it make the Mets equal every day of the week? What do the Mets, what do the Yankees have? Yes, they have tradition, but that's in a dusty book. That doesn't get you to the World Series now, and it doesn't win you one more championship. It didn't help the Yankees in the World Series this year against the Dodgers that they've won more World Series than everybody else. It didn't help them when they completely had the wheels come off in one inning. It's history, it's tradition. They will always have that. So what? That's not what the next 10 years are about. That's what the next 20 years are about, or what the next 15 years are about, or that whatever part of it that Soto is in the lineup and leading the Mets wherever he leads them. This is a new day and a new order in the city. That is without argument. And anybody who doesn't see that there are two huge things that come out of this signing. One, Cone has arrived. He delivered on everything that he promised. He was as good as his word. He gave the Met fans what they have dreamt about. And number two, this is a seismic shift in the power of these franchises. Seismic. The Yankees no longer get the player because they're the Yankees. The Mets got the player because they're the wealthier franchise. They have the wealthier owner. And soon they might have the better recent history. And if that happens, then the Yankees and their fans are going to have a lot of bitter times because they have ruled, and they have ruled cruelly at times over the Mets. And the Met fans, they're lining up to pay him back. They've been wanting to pay him back forever. And now we'll see if they get a chance. The Yankees don't have to lose on the field. They have more than enough resources. They will still be one of the richest franchises in baseball. And baseball has to look at the haves and the haves nots. When you have franchises that will start the year with entire rosters less than what Soto makes next year, that's a problem. In the long run of the sport, that's a major problem. And that's something baseball's been dealing with for a long time, but that's a major problem because there is an inequity there that is outrageous. But in this town, with these two teams both being at the top of the sport, no one will care. But the days of the Yankee rule is over. You know what? Tomorrow's going to be a tough day for Yankee fans. It's going to be a big day for Met fans. This is the day that they've been dreaming about since the day Cone took the team over. And now it's here. We'll see you later.